Hey you, I'm Jer, the tech lead for Global Voices, and this is a quick little video updating about the extra wide posts feature. I already did another video, you could find that on this same YouTube channel, but I wanted to do a couple updates about things that have changed specifically. And so here is a example of a post which is not currently extra wide, and you could see in the editor it's showing what you might expect if you're used to doing videos on Global Voices, which is that the content fills the screen and any floating things float, but there's no constraint at all, which is not accurate to what you'll see in the end, right? It's always constrained, which is just the default of Global Voices. The center column is used so that the text is comfortable to read and everything looks good. Okay, the extra wide layout feature, which we could see here. I'll make it big so you could see in the sidebar here. There's the box that says post settings, Global Voices. I put it here. It might also be here. Did you know you could drag things around? You can. So I was able to drag it here if I want. And then if I tick this box and save, always save after ticking that box. I forgot to mention it in my previous video, but it's very important because otherwise you won't see it until you save, including in the preview. So if I preview now, we see that it gets extra wide. I'll zoom out so we can get a sense of it. But the point is that the biggest stuff, the images, fill the entire screen instead of being constrained, but the paragraphs are still nice and small and easy to read. That's the extra wide feature. Okay, what is changing? Well, the change is that now, see, you can actually see it in the visual editor when you're editing the post. Previously, you couldn't see it. You had to preview over and over to see how your things were doing. No more. Now, once you click the extra wide layout and you hit save draft, bam, you get the nice effect. You'll see how the images that are extra wide, when you use the huge size, of course, make sure when it's extra wide, you want to use huge. When it's not extra wide, you want to use large to be full width. But when it's extra wide, you want to use huge. And you can also see if you have a half width image floated to the right, you could see it looking nice and sticking out of the paragraph, right? Which is one of the nice things. It's still half the width, but it's half of the total width, so it sticks out in a nice way. Okay, so there you go. That's the thing. It's new, so if you're watching this around September 2023, let me know if you find any bugs with it, things that don't work properly. I also updated everything else about this preview so that it'll be up to date, and it should be going forward more up to date than ever to match whatever you're seeing on the site should be matched here, all the fonts and styles and things. So hopefully that works well. One more thing. Okay. Part 2 of this, aside from the live editor, was something I wanted, and I actually did this all to get this one thing, which is the ability to say to a single item in here, hey, you, I don't want you to be constrained the way you normally would, right? So an image is not constrained. It goes to the full width, but a paragraph is constrained, right? It's thinner and it looks good because it's easier to read it that way. But maybe for some reason, I want it to be wide. Like let's say if I come up here and I go ahead of the image, I have one paragraph and I think, oh boy, though, it looks dumb, right? It looks very dumb. Like not that you should ever do this. You should start with the big image. But let's say you did. And there was a specific, the page that lists users is the one I was doing. But if I want to make this full width, what I can do is select the text of the paragraph, and that's important. And then over in formats here in this menu where you already use things like translation and fact box, there's a new one, full width. And if I select the text and I go formats, full width, look at that. And it previews, which is nice, but you can also open the preview and see that it has the effect we're looking for. Now, we don't want to make the whole post look like this with this paragraph because it makes it harder to read for some people. But for a single paragraph, it's fine. And then we should be able to undo it. There we go. We select the text. And the thing is, it doesn't work. Like if I wanted to make this a translation block quote, it works a little better. I can just click anywhere and do it, and then click anywhere and undo it. And then it's still a quote and I can turn off the quote. I can't do that with the full width. If I do that, oh, it did work. Okay. I'm not sure. Sometimes it's a little confusing. If you select the text, it should always work, okay? And then you can do it and undo it. Okay, so I'm going to delete that because that's not what I was hoping for. Okay. And so in this post, I had an example. You can also do it with a heading. So if I take this heading, I select it, I go to formats and I click full width. Now it's full width. So it doesn't actually look good because it's not wide enough. But the reason would be to do that would be, let's say, I'm going to put that one back, but let's say we had these two together and I wanted this text to be full width. And then if it came right after that header, I want them to match, right? I just want them to line up together. So that's why paragraphs and headings, you can do it with both of them. Okay, so I will go back. Okay, and then it should also be possible. So let's say I have a block quote here. If I select the block quote and do full width, it doesn't quite work, and that's kind of awkward. I found that doing the following, if you go after the thing and select the text until before the thing, right? So I've selected a little bit before and a little bit after, then it does work. And that's strange, and I'm sorry. So, okay, that's a little weird. There's limitations on this system, and we're doing something a little bit weird with it. If I want to do it manually, I can select the text that I want to modify, switched from the visual to the text editor, right? That'll show the HTML. Now I have my eyes on the stuff. By selecting before switching, it helps you find it. Okay, and now I will make this bigger, find the text. Okay, so what I can do here, I messed this up earlier, so I'll clean this. I can add class equals full width. Class equals full width. And that's the same as what you would see in the formats thing, right? Dot full width. So class equals full width. You don't have to know how to do this. If you ever need help, you can always ask me. But the point is just for those of you that know how to edit the HTML directly, this is a really easy way to add this to almost anything. You can add it to a fact box, to an image, to anything, and it should have the right effect. But most importantly, the ones that you're most likely to need is the paragraph and the heading, and those will work automatically by just selecting the text and doing it. All right. Hopefully you like this nice short video. I just wanted to catch everyone up and let them know about this option, because for me, I found there was times where I wanted to use the full width, but there was just a couple things that I wanted to be wider, and having this new option makes it possible. But by default, you don't want to use that. You want to just do things absolutely normally, other than having the extra big images. And then when you float images left and right, they look bigger, they work better, and they create a dynamic layout. So there you go. That's the updates to extra wide layout and the full width format. Remember to come back and find this post again in the future if you ever get stuck. All right. Good luck with your posts, and I hope your full width posts are beautiful and get your stories across even better.